Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming Tech.com video. We have some news regarding both the Xbox One and the PS4. The Xbox One may have a benefit of 2 to 3 times unit advantage at launch over the PS4, says an analyst. So, who is this analyst and what exactly is he referring to? Robert W. Bard and company analyst Colm Sebastian have stated in his latest investor's note that the Xbox One is doing extremely well at the moment. It's riding a momentum wave, if you will, at retail. Now, obviously, there were some negative feelings towards the Xbox One just a short time ago. However, he has said, Sebastian I mean, that with the removal and reversal of their DRM policy, Microsoft have done, well, a good U-turn in the eyes of the public, and now public opinions are definitely starting to sway more favourably towards the system. He wrote the following, and I quote, "Despite losing the headline battle at E3, Microsoft's Xbox One appears to be regaining some momentum, in part due to the used and online policy tweaks." I'm not exactly sure I agree with the fact it's tweak, that's off quote of course. Importantly, our supply chain checks suggest Microsoft may have the benefit of a 2 to 3 unit advantage at launch compared to the PS4. End quote. So, is that going to be really the case? Well, it's unknown really just how many units are going to be available for launch for either platform. However, what he has said is he personally believes both the PS4 and the Xbox One will have launch shortages. He also believes that Microsoft, and I quote, are going to be working with channel partners to lessen the gap. Now, one of the big differences, of course, one of the disparities between the PS4 and the Xbox One is that there is a substantial difference in price. In the United States, for example, it's about $100, which, no matter which way you slice it, especially as it's going to be released around Christmas time, that's enough to buy you a couple of games. Sebastian has also pointed out that the Wii U, he feels at least, needs a price cut. He also believes that, and I quote, "the fate of the platform rests on Nintendo's holiday software lineup." In other words, just how well the system will do regarding the games and this Christmas. In other words, for many people, I think that many people know that this Christmas is going to be the make or break of the Wii U. That does not necessarily, or not even slightly, mean Nintendo, because Nintendo have absolutely huge cash reserves, and it's also worth noting that the 3DS now is selling a lot better. However, there have been recent reports that the Vita, PlayStation Vita obviously, is actually starting to outsell the Wii U now in Japan, which is either fantastic news for Sony, considering that their sales of the Vita were, well, not exactly what they were hoping for, let's just be honest, or really crappy news for Nintendo. I suppose it depends on your perspective. Regardless, what are my thoughts on this? Well, shortages at launch aren't really going to be a major surprise. Obviously, if you've pre-ordered, you've got a reasonable chance of actually getting the system. However, if you've not pre-ordered, if you're just one of those people who are just going to walk down to the store and hope for the best, well, you probably will have to be there pretty early. But that's the same for pretty much any system, because after all, there is only a certain amount of units that you can actually manufacture for launch. Regarding AMD, who are providing both the GPU and CPU combination, in other words, the APU, they're actually very confident about the numbers that they can produce. They have said that they can easily satisfy demands, which makes sense considering that they have a lot of experience with it. And to be honest with you, the Jaguar itself is an amalgamation of various technologies that they already possess. However, no doubt there will be some issues in terms of fabrication because it is a very complex chip. This is especially true with regards to the PS4. However, as I have said, AMD are very adamant, they are very clear that they believe that they will be able to satisfy the numbers that is required. However, there are other components inside a system other than just the CPU and GPU, as you're all familiar with. No doubt Sony will have interesting times sourcing the amount of GDDR5 memory. On the other hand, it is definitely becoming a lot more prevalent than what it was, say, let's go with 12 months or 24 months ago. Also, in addition to that, of course, you have all the other bits and pieces such as the Blu-ray drive, the hard drive, the power, the plastics, everything else, as well as the time to actually assemble the stuff, fault test it, and everything else that you would expect besides. So, obviously there will be limits. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be 2 to 3 times the number, however. We'll have to see if he's right. He's an analyst, so obviously he does have access to certain data, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that data is accurate. So I guess we'll just have to see on that one. Regardless, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I will see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.